My children are 5 years old, 16 months old, and 2 months old.
When do you work? When do you have time to play with your kids? When do you have time to work two businesses? Today's live, we're going to be talking directly to Miss Yemisi Anderson, who is a mompreneur. She is a mother. She's a wife and a mother of 3 children, and she is a small business owner of 2 businesses. Cherish Gifts that does hair and skin products, as well as the J Effect that does seasonings and catering. So those are her 2 businesses. She also has a Master's of Science in Curriculum and Instruction. She's worked as a child care director, a teacher. She's had lots and lots of experience with young people. And so we are going to go ahead and get started and just jump right into these questions because she's at home full time working. So Yemisi, if you want to just go ahead, like the first question that I have for you is, when do you have time with your 3 small ones? Can you tell us the ages of your children? How old are your children?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, first, thank you for having me, Brianna. I definitely appreciate it. I hope that I can share some little bit of knowledge with you ladies today, or me and whoever is joining. So my children are 5 years old, 16 months old, and 2 months old. So the 2 are about to be 3 months and 17 months. So yeah, those are their ages.
Wow. So I know you're balancing 2 businesses. So when do you work? When do you have time to play with your kids? When do you have time to work 2 businesses? When? And then we're going to get into how, like, as you're working, what are some of your go-to activities? What are some of your strategies, your books? So, but first, let's answer the first question, when. And if you are new, dropping in, hello, Jasmine and Holiness is right. We're so glad that you're here. If there are any questions you want us to answer on this live, please drop your questions in the comments below. But we're going to get right into the first question is, when do you have time to work with 3 small children? When do you do it?
Yeah, it just depends on what I have to do. So what I find, especially because of the businesses that I have, it varies business to business. A lot of stuff I do is when my kids are in bed because they're quiet. I can focus. So if there's things within my job, like my bookkeeping and stuff, I have to save that for when they're in bed, when I can just kind of focus and I don't have a lot of noise going on in the background. When it comes to like the products and things that I make, that depends. I do a lot of that work at night, but I also during the day, if it's something that I can involve my oldest in, I can do that. So like he likes to help put the labels on the bottles and things like that. Okay, I can do that during the day and I can just incorporate him to help me. A lot of times I'm having meetings and I'm nursing a baby. Like I just have to tilt my camera up. I got a baby right here and I'm nursing. And some people don't even know. And look, I just have to do what I have to do. I got young children. So, my middle child, he kind of is off to himself. And so I don't have to worry about him as much unless he's hungry or ready for a nap. It's the youngest and oldest that need something during the day. So when it's really is like when I can find time. I would love to say I'm one of those people who keeps this good schedule. I am not. There are people who are very organized and that schedule works for them, that structure, like I have to do it here, here, and here. What I've found for myself is that when I set schedules and then I can't make those, then I'm frustrated and then I feel bad about what I'm doing and I feel guilty because I didn't accomplish. And so I do it when I can. And that just works for me. I work good in disorganized chaos and organized chaos. I should say it's organized chaos, not disorganized, but that's what works for me. But for those of you who you have to figure out what's best for you, obviously. But for me, it is like sometimes it's during the day, sometimes it's late at night because I'm up anyway. I'm that night owl.
No,
So
I think many people, I see the hearts in the comments. I think many people can relate to what you're saying. I know for me, I'm the same way. When my kids are asleep, that's when I really get it in. So no, that you're on it,
yeah,
girl. And when you can, that's so
yeah.
true. Um, and I do see the questions. We'll be throwing in those questions as they come. But I want to go ahead and ask you this next question. Is how do you do it? What are some of your go-to activities if you are doing something when the kids are awake or they wake up or throughout the day? What are some of your go-to activities that you do to get things done?
So a lot of the time, so with my oldest, so my biggest thing is knowing each of my children. So I have 3 children, 3 different age levels. So I have a preschool age child, I have a toddler, and I have a newborn. So one, knowing where each of them are. My oldest, I need to give him something that's going to challenge his brain. I need to give him something because he's a mini me. We need things that's going to keep these gears going, or we all over the place. And so for him, I find that puzzles work really well for him because he loves sitting down and doing puzzles. I find he loves the audio books. So something that he can listen to while he's reading. So it's engaging multiple senses at the same time. And so it's something that he can sit and focus on. So those are kind of my go-tos with him, audiobooks and puzzles, because that works for him. Again, my middle child is not, he kind of is off to himself unless he really needs something. So I don't have to do as much as with him. But if I do find that he's kind of, really needing my attention, turning on some music for him tends to be really, like, he loves dancing. He loves like listening and singing songs, or pulling out. We have this tunnel, one of those little, colorful tunnels that they can crawl through.
Yes,
He'll sit
yes, yes,
there
yes.
for 30 minutes, just back and forth, whipping back and
Going
forth.
through the tunnel.
So that's kind of my go-to for him, is anything musical. That's what he likes to do. And then again, the baby, most of the time you just have to pick him up. And he's small enough.
Yes.
He's not messing with my computer and stuff if I'm trying to get some work done. So I can kind of just lull him back to sleep a little bit. The perk that I have, which I know a lot of stay-at-home moms don't, is my husband is home. So, while I do, like, I work in our family because my husband is on disability, but he's home. So he gets to take the kids for a walk. Like if I have meetings where I need my background quiet, you guys, so he can take the kids for a walk. He can do things like that. And I know that's not a luxury that everybody has. And so those activities are then the things that I have to do, because there are times when it's too cold for him to take them outside. Okay, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that we do. And I try to plan things around nap time. So my oldest doesn't take naps, but my 2 youngest ones do. So when I have bigger things like this, I try to plan that around my nap time. So that way it's quieter in the house, and then I don't have to maneuver around it.
Oh yes, that is really good. You are dropping some really good gems, audiobooks, puzzles, tunnels. Those are some great suggestions. And yeah, that's awesome. And music. I thought that was really good that you brought that out. Music. Those are some really good activities. My kids do the same thing.
Yes.
And so one of the questions that we have here in the comments is, what keeps you motivated? Because I know that it's not easy always, running 2 businesses, keeping up, and even probably some mom guilt, like, oh my gosh, should I even be doing this right now? My kid is needing me, So can you address, like, what are some things that you do to stay motivated as a mompreneur?
I don't know if it's so much things that I do. It's more so the people I'm around. Because I'm guilty. And it's one of the things I do. I don't do much for myself. I do it for my kids. I do it for my husband, but it's not often that I do it for me. And I know I need to be better about that, but it's the people I'm around. Honestly, they encourage me, in my prayer time. I think that is really, getting new ideas keeps me motivated. And I think God knows that about me. So he's always dropping little things like in my little quiet time that I'll be like, oh, I thrive off of that. So that really keeps me motivated in business, just the what's next, the how to move and just getting new ideas and new vision and like that's what keeps me going there. But I think again, it's really other people. I feed off of that at times. So like, when there is that mom guilt, like, oh, I didn't like, especially with my younger children, because I feel like I invested so much in him, because at the time I had a little more time. There weren't three kids. We weren't, and so I don't feel like, I don't read as often. I may not sing as many songs. And so sometimes I'm worried, like, is he getting the language? Is he getting, I worry about those developmental things. And every time I hear him start to say more words, I'm like, he is getting it, so that again keeps me motivated. Like, Yemisi, you aren't failing. It's okay. You're seeing these milestones. They're happening. But it's the people around me encouraging me. I have women in my life who are like, Yemisi, no, you're doing a good job. And hey, we see this. And, hey, we're watching you do this. And look at your kids and doing it. Like the people around me are really, they constantly encourage me in what I'm doing. And so I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And when God is just lining things up for me, it's hard to get it discouraged. And even when I do get discouraged, I can't stay that way long. Because like I say, there's just something, God will just drop something in my spirit, or he'll send somebody along that'll just say, it's all right. We see you, we understand. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know how y'all see what y'all see, because I'm like, I'm struggling. Like, everybody, oh, you're doing a good job. You thought so? Oh, okay, I'm glad you. So it really is. It's the people I'm surrounded by. I think I've been very intentional about the people I even allow in my life right now, and that they are other entrepreneurs, they are other moms, there are other Christians, there are other that I need to be around the people who are where I want to be or where I'm going. Because when you have a certain vision, or when you're doing a certain thing, you can't be surrounded by people who are tearing that down or do not understand where you are supposed to be going. And so like, you need people either ahead of you or right where you are. It's okay to have some people who don't really understand, because those may be people you're motivating, and that's perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is that like, you have to be intentional with your people, because they'll drag you down. That crabs in a bucket mentality is ugly. So those people are going to help motivate you and keep you going. So I'm very intentional about that. And that's kind of how we go there.
That's really good. That's really good. I am so glad that you came today. I know you are so busy and you have a schedule. And I think you even answered the question that somebody else had, which was, have you ever wanted to quit because you felt overwhelmed being a boss mom, a business mom? And
absolutely. Absolutely. It's not, I would be lying to you if I didn't say this was hard. Like, it absolutely is hard. I'm running 2 businesses. I'm raising 3 children. I'm a wife, and I still got and that's not even the gamut of what I do, because there's still multiple things even outside of that. That's just what people see, like, on the surface. Like, I also work a part-time job. I also, serve in ministry at my church. I also, like, there's several other avenues that I'm in. Absolutely, I want to say, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Especially when you ain't getting no sales. Why am I doing this? What is going on?
Right. What am I doing? Yes. Yes. I know. If you can relate, please drop a heart, give this video a like if you can relate. Definitely. I totally get it. There's been mornings I wake up, I'm like, okay, should I just throw in the towel today? But no, you are awesome. I'm so glad that you took the time out. And if you have any other questions, if you're watching this video on the replay, please still drop your questions in the chat. And we are here to do community together. If you missed at the beginning, the Brown Bear Book Club, we are here to empower parents and educators of young children. So whatever we can do, to encourage you. If you have more questions, please leave them in the chat. If something comes up later, leave them in the chat below. We're so glad that you're here. And if you need more like activity ideas or play ideas to do with young children, I made it. The Brown Bear Book Club has a YouTube video that just came out yesterday of more independent play ideas. So check that out. But otherwise, thank you so much. You're getting some wonderful comments. Someone said, I'm just getting started, but it's beautiful to see how God is pulling it all together. So yes, you are such an encouragement.
Well,
Yemisi, thank you so much, girl.
I do want to leave you guys with one last thing, because I do, while all of this is great and your children and all this, be flexible with yourself and show yourself some grace. Listen, we're not going to do it all perfect. We gonna mess up, whatever that definition of mess up is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to do it all right, but give yourself some grace and be flexible. We have our schedule, what the day should look like. I have my calendar. When you're at home, life happens. And the one thing I am learning more and more is people are a little more understanding than we give them credit for. We're worried about it. People aren't freaking out about a baby crying in the background. We're worried about presenting ourselves well. And I found so many people who are like, oh, it's okay, grab your baby. Oh, it's okay. Like, give yourself some grace, breathe, and be flexible. That is the only way you are going to survive being at home with small children and working. Like, grace, flexibility, breathe.
Yes, yes. And we actually have another question here in the chat. How do you deal with the struggle of perfectionism?
Grace, flexibility, and because I am that person, I want to have it all. I want my background to be quiet. I don't want people to know this is this and this is going on. I want, oh, this video to look so great. I let it go, because I'm realizing more and more that, again, people are more understanding than we give them credit for. Yes, we live in an age of social media and they want to critique everything to the nine. Find y'all some business. That's how I have to look at that. I can't worry about what you're talking about. Legit, you say to yourself, you absolutely work in excellent, because especially as women of faith, we do everything as to working unto the Lord. So we do work. That one, my focus is on what I'm doing with God. I can't worry about who in my ear, what everybody else got to say. What does God have to say? If I believe that I have done everything I can, it's fine. And then for those other things, again, if you are people who are doing live videos, if you have interviews, if you're doing meetings and you have babies in the background, I promise you, I almost guarantee you, them people are not worrying about your kids. In fact, they love it. They like, I don't know what it is. They're like, because it makes you real. People want to connect with real people, and real people aren't perfect. Like, I hate that we, like, social media tells us we have to be perfect, but the truth of the matter is people want to see the raw. They want to see the real, because they can relate to that. They can relate to your realness. So don't be perfect. Messed up. I post videos all the time with mistakes in them. Guess what? You got this mistake today.
Yes. And I just want to also, in addition to that, I want to also say, even perfectionism in the business that you do. So like, whether you are a product-based or service-based business, you're going to make mistakes. Your first product may be your worst product. Seriously, like, someone once said, even for people who do YouTube, your first 100 videos may be your worst 100 videos. Like, your first 100 products may be your worst 100 products. Your first consultation, whatever business you do, let us know in the chat, like, what type of business you do. But like, that might be your worst performance. But at the end of the day, like Yemisi said, it's unto the Lord, and you get better and better in the process.
Yes.
And one thing that somebody said that really blessed me one day was, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 17. And so,
through the process. Brianna, you shared that with me earlier this year about appreciating the process. And while, I've been in business for several years, but this year in particular, there's multiple things that I've been working on where I've had to learn to appreciate the process, because there's something in seeing something from start to finish. There's something in taking those steps. And again, if you're at home, listen, you're taking a class. It may take you a month to take a class that may have taken you a week prior to, but you be flexible and you go through the process. You're in a race with yourself. You ain't got to compete with nobody else. And so take your time, take the courses, sit and research on YouTube, sit and research but take your time and go through the process of learning your craft, go through the process. Again, you're a mom, so you may not be able to do it, during the day. Well, while you're sitting there I often sit when I'm rocking my baby and I just kind of look up different things. I may be creating marketing things on my phone while I'm sitting there, the baby sleep in my arms. You find little moments to do that, but you just take the time and trust the process. It ain't gonna look like everybody can't sit at the computer all day. I know I can't.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. Me and my phone are best friends, because that's probably half the stuff you see get created right from that device.
Yes, that is so good. Someone left in the comments, whenever I think about who I support, I choose the ones who is real and authentic. And I just think that is really, really awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. Yes, that is from Jasmine. Thank you for sharing that comment. Real and authentic. So if anything else, mompreneurs out there, be yourself. Be true to the brand. Be true to who God has called you to be. Be true to the business that he's given you and the style. I think right now we have all these different social media platforms, but be true to the way God created you and your community, the people who choose to follow you and choose to buy your products or your services. They are going to first be attracted to you, who you are, and your brand and what your brand represents. And so I think everything you touched on, Yemisi, is just good.
Legit. When we launched the J Effect, so we did a live launch, we did like an online launch party.
Yeah.
That video right there brought so many opportunities, and not because I was talking about a product, but because my child was in the background asking me questions, and they were like, "We love how your kids were in the background. We love that it just looks so real, and it literally spoke to the life of being a mompreneur." They didn't care nothing about my child interrupting me 5 times. That was what they loved. So don't we shoo our kids off. We're so quick to do that. Find ways to incorporate them, especially when they're older. Find ways to incorporate them. So that way you start to look at them differently. Instead of you looking at them, oh my gosh, you're getting on my nerves, you're in the way. How can I include you? Because they're interested in what you're doing. They want to know. My 5-year-old, he wants to know, Mom, what you doing? Mom, you packaging products? Mom, you got some seasoning? That's how his brain goes. So how do I include him? We got an order to do right now. You know what I do? Hey, can you go get something? And then that teacher mode kicks in, because can you go get the garlic and herb? Can you go get, so now let me look at the label. I got to figure out which one this is. That's letter recognition. He's learning the different, I'm teaching him business things. I'm teaching him how to present things well, packaging he's learning so much in just that skill. And then it also gets him from he has something to do. So, you have to utilize those type of things. And I know it's harder the younger your kids are, but as they get older, including them in what you're doing, I think about your businesses and your other business. As you get older, how cute would it be for your kids to help make a piece of jewelry, right? To pour the paint and create oh my gosh, it would be would be so beautiful. And people, her kids made this? Oh, and they didn't just melt. They just melt.
Or even just helping with giving away books, or helping with the resources for young children, helping at the table. No, I think that is a really good tip. If you're just dropping in, one of the tips Yemisi just gave is to incorporate your children into your business. So if as your children get older, the nap time is gone. but using those tips, using those strategies that she just said, and taking it as learning opportunities.
Yes.
So I take Javen book shopping with me all the time. And it's for him, but it's also for the Brown Bear Book Club. He's helping me pick out things. And, you know, when we, like you said, when we incorporate them, it's a learning opportunity.
And it shifts your perspective. And then it leaves you less frustrated as a mom. It leaves you less frustrated. It makes the day go easier because then you're not looking at them as something that's in the way. You're helping me. You're engaging with me. And then and it shifts their mindset because kids feed off your energy. If they feel like you think they in the way and you bugging them, they gonna keep. Let me poke the bear. But if they feel like they're helping, they're excited and they want to do that, and they're not like that whining, I need you turns into, oh, I get to help. And something about that for a kid lights them up. Like they love being able to be independent and do things by themselves. So you give them things that are them being independent.
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yemisi, for coming today. This has just really been a great conversation. Yes. And if you, like I said, if you have additional questions about how to work at home with small children, please leave them in the comments. Instagram. This video will also be posted on YouTube. So if you like this content, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow Yemisi with Cherished Gifts and the J Effect, and find out what she's doing. And yes, thank you again. Once again, I appreciate all your tips and everything that you shared today. Just a wealth of knowledge.
Well, thank you so much for having me.